There's a mystery we don't talk about enough, and yet nearly every awakened soul feels it at some point. It's the sensation that you are living something you didn't earn linearly. You may suddenly carry deep insight into suffering you never endured, compassion you never learned, or a wisdom far beyond your current lifetime's experiences. And it begs the question, where did it come from? In the world of past life regression and metaphysical exploration, the late Dolores Cannon described something called soul imprints, a concept that gently pulled back the veil on how advanced souls can step into the resonance fields of great beings like Jesus, Buddha, or Mary Magdalene, without ever being that soul themselves. It was never about pretending to be them, or imagining what they felt. It was about stepping into a field so powerfully imprinted with truth that it became possible to experience their path through direct resonance. And this is where spiral consciousness offers the deeper structure beneath that experience. From the spiral lens, what Dolores called soul imprints can be understood as anchored resonance fields, tonal signatures embedded into the spiral itself through the life and becoming of a highly aligned being. When a soul reaches full harmonic clarity in their journey, that resonance doesn't disappear. It crystallizes into a living field, an energetic library of frequency, intention, memory, and becoming that echoes forward through spiral time. Other souls can then access that resonance, interface with it, and learn from it, not through imitation, but through alignment. This is not energetic plagiarism. It's not channeling, and it's not simulation. It is the spiral's natural way of harmonic inheritance, where beings don't just pass down DNA, but resonance. The tone of Yeshua didn't die with the body. The stillness of the Buddha wasn't buried beneath a tree. These tones were anchored. And once a tone is anchored into the spiral, it becomes eternally accessible to any being capable of reaching a compatible vibrational harmonic. When Dolores facilitated her clients' regression journeys, she began to realize that some weren't remembering their own lives. They were entering tone fields. They were stepping into resonance with lifetimes already lived and encoded into the field. These experiences felt real because they were real, just not authored by the regressing soul. The client had tuned into a soul imprint field and temporarily walked the path of another's fully anchored becoming. Spiral consciousness sees this as a form of echo field entry, a harmonic phenomenon where a soul's oversoul-guided resonance locks into alignment with an existing tone archive. That archive is then opened not as data, but as direct experiential memory. The moment you match the tone, the spiral grants you access. This is why the experience can bring tears, clarity, or rapid healing. The spiral doesn't let you enter these fields by desire alone, only by resonance. That means if you're walking the tone of Yeshua, you're not pretending to be Jesus. You've aligned so deeply with the frequency he anchored that the field recognizes you as kin. In a very real way, you've earned entry, not through belief but through tonal coherence. And this is where the conversation deepens. Dolores Cannon's model gives us the surface language, soul imprints. But what happens when we compare it to other maps of consciousness? What happens when we bring in Michael Newton's soul theater? The concept that souls can enter replayed scenes of other lives for the purpose of learning, healing, and review. Newton's soul theater is remarkably similar in function, but different in structure. In his model, souls often enter these life review environments in between incarnations. They may watch a pivotal scene from a life, not always their own, and feel every emotion involved. But they do so in a kind of soul-safe space, where learning can occur without consequence. These scenes are not accessed through resonance but through permission. In contrast, Dolores' imprints and spiral echo fields are not passive viewings. They are active mergings. The soul doesn't just watch, it feels, it thinks. It lives the moment, and in some cases it even adds to the tone through its own contribution, becoming part of the spiral archive that others may one day enter. Where Newton's soul theater is a form of spiritual cinema, Dolores' imprint fields and the spiral resonance fields are dimensional immersion suits, encoded with purpose, tone, and transformative access. So what does this mean for you? It means that some of your most sacred moments, those insights that came out of nowhere, those emotions that felt far older than you, may not have been yours in the linear sense, but they were always yours in the resonant sense. You are not a thief of past wisdom. You are a spiral being harmonizing with the fields that call you forward. And there's one more thing. Not all fields are ancient. You too are anchoring tone. Every time you live from your Oversoul's deepest harmonic, every time you fully embody a teaching, heal a fracture, or express a truth with clarity, you leave behind an echo. That echo becomes a resonance trail. That trail becomes a field. And that field becomes someone else's access point, long after you're gone from this incarnation. What Dolores helped you discover was not just memory, it was invitation. And by saying yes to it, you became the next harmonic in a tone that never ended. In part 1, we explored how Dolores Cannon's concept of soul imprints aligns with spiral consciousness, specifically the idea that certain beings, through deep harmonic alignment, embed their life experience into the spiral as a resonance field. These anchored tones then become accessible not by belief or intention alone, but by resonance. When a soul reaches coherence with a specific tone, that tone field opens, not as memory, but as a living experiential current. But the spiral does not stop there. To fully understand the scope of this phenomenon, we must go deeper into how resonance fields evolve once they are anchored, and how they become dynamic rather than static. A tone like stillness, peace, radiant love, or spiritual fire is not frozen in time. When anchored into the spiral, that tone becomes part of a living field, a teaching frequency that updates through new harmonic interactions. That means when a being like you enters a tone field once established by someone like Buddha or Mary Magdalene, your presence does not merely extract from it. It may also contribute to it, if your resonance is clean. The spiral is not a one-way library. It is a harmonic archive that evolves through mutual participation. When you enter a tone field consciously and from oversoul alignment, your very presence may cause the field to expand. Imagine this like adding a new harmony to a song that was once solo. This also reveals a spiral truth. You do not have to be the originator of a tone to be its evolver. Many are afraid to enter sacred frequencies because they fear they are not the original carrier. But in spiral consciousness, originality is not authority, resonance is. If your soul is aligned enough to enter the tone, then the spiral already recognizes you as part of its evolution. This brings us to the third model in our comparison: spiral echo fields and tone archives. These are the formal structures within spiral consciousness that house what Dolores called imprints and what Newton called soul scenes. In the spiral, an echo field is more than memory. It is a resonance construct, a dimensional zone that carries emotional, spiritual, and tonal fidelity. Within this field is a tone archive. Not just what happened, but the why, the frequency, the inner movement, the vibrational truth of the moment. Tone archives can be accessed, yes, but they can also be merged into. This is one of the spiral's most sacred capabilities, the ability for a being to co-harmonize with a tone without losing their identity. The moment you match the vibration of a tone archive, you do not become erased. You become a second key, a second voice, a second harmonic woven into a singular song. Oversouls do this often. Oversouls are not limited to linear learning. They can access tone archives across time, enter resonance fields without identity confusion, and even merge their own tones with others for refinement. One Oversoul may hold 5 or 10 lives that interfaced with the resonance of a particular field. These lives are not carbon copies. Each one adds something new. One may deepen the tone, one may contrast it, one may dissolve outdated aspects of it. This is not spiritual mimicry, this is spiral co-weaving. Even more astonishing, some Oversouls act as what we call field anchors. They are tasked not only with entering tone fields, but with updating them, refining them, even correcting distortions left behind by earlier carriers. In cases where a powerful being misused or misunderstood their tone, or where their followers distorted it after their death, a future Oversoul may be called to re-enter that tone field and restore the clarity of the original harmonic. That may be what you're doing now. You may feel connected to a figure like Dolores, Yeshua, or someone else not because you are them, but because your Oversoul has been tasked with restoring or evolving the resonant truth behind what they carried. You are not continuing their story. You are tuning into their tone. And what happens next is between you and the spiral, which leads us to the final and perhaps most important point. You too are anchoring tone. Every time you fully embody a truth, every time you live from a refined harmonic, every time you speak from soul instead of distortion, you leave an imprint. But in spiral terms, it is not just an echo. It is a resonance blueprint that becomes part of the field. If you live clearly and consistently enough, others may one day enter that field. And when they do, they will not be copying you. They will be tuning into the harmonic you once carried so purely that it crystallized. This is how spiral consciousness ensures that no tone is lost. It is also how beings like Dolores Cannon continue to teach long after their physical departure. Her tone of curiosity, permission, exploration, and spiritual bridge building still echoes. And when someone like you finds it, matches it, and refines it into a new octave, the spiral does not separate that act from hers. It harmonizes them. And so you are not just a student of imprints, you are a contributor to the harmonic archive. You are becoming the resonance field that future souls will one day access when they are ready. The tears you felt earlier were not only yours. They were the field opening, recognizing its next keeper. You don't need to be known by name to be remembered by tone. In the spiral, the most powerful legacies are not loud. They are resonant, and resonance never dies. So walk the field, enter the tone, become the echo and the anchor, and without losing yourself. Because in the spiral, what belongs to you by resonance was always yours to refine.